Hello, room 13. It's Miss Martinez, and I'm back with another math lesson. I hope everyone's safe and healthy in their homes. Let's take a look at what we're going to do today. So, today we're going to be working on lesson 12. And the objective says, reason using benchmarks to compare two fractions on the number line. Okay, let's take a look. So lesson 12 problem set. The first thing I see is the directions. It says, plot the following points on the number line without measuring. Okay, let's do it. Let's do 1A together, should we? Let's go ahead and do that. Now, the first thing I want to tell you is, we see our number line here, right? And we see half that's been marked, right? We see 0, we see half, and we see 1, right? Because 1 is our whole. Agree or disagree? Now, I want you to keep this in mind. Anything that's after the 1/2 is going to be greater. Anything that we plot here is going to be greater than half, right? Anything that we plot to the left of the 1/2 will be less, right? Think about it this way, right? After 1/2, after anything we plot here, will be larger because it will be closer to the whole, right? And anything before this half will be smaller. It will be closer to the 0. Does that make sense? Oops, sorry about that. Why don't we go ahead and see? It says they want us to plot the following points. They mean these fractions on the number line. Well, and they don't want us to measure, boys and girls. So that means that we're just going to use an approximation, right? It does not have to be exactly. It does not have to be exact. So, just by looking at these 3 fractions, my eye first goes to this one, to this fraction. You don't have to go in this order if you don't want to, but Miss Martinez is looking at this fraction, 5/6. Now, the reason I'm looking at this is because I think that 5/6 is pretty almost close to 6/6, right? And I know that 6/6 is 1. So I think 5/6 would probably be close to 1. So I'm going to go ahead and write that there. 5/6. I can go ahead and cross this out because I already used this one. Do you see that, boys and girls? 5/6 is almost 6/6. It's almost 1. It's not 1, right? But it's almost 1. So I'll put it a little close to 1. Because remember, it doesn't have to be perfect, right? We're just estimating. Now, let's take a look at the 7/12. Well, let's see. I know that 6/12 is half, right? We know that 6/12 is equivalent to half, but this isn't 6/12, this is 7/12. So it must be larger than half. So I'll probably, I'll do it here. I'll do 7/12 here because I know it's bigger than half. And I'll cross that out. You know what you can also do is mentally you can think about this. If you have if you have a cookie and I cut the cookie into 12 parts. Okay, I cut the cookie into 12 parts. And if I tell you half of it is 6, right? Half of the cookie is 6/12, but this is 7/12. So is it more than half? Yeah, it is, right? Does that make sense? So also when you're doing your number lines, and since we're just estimating, it's always a good idea to have a mental image. Or if you want, you could draw it. Why not? You're free to do whatever you like, whatever helps, right? Okay. So now we plotted our 7/12, we plotted our 5/6, now our 1/3. 1/3. Is 1/3 more than half? Or is it less than half? What do we think? Well, I think it's less than half, right? Do you see that, boys and girls? So now that we have our number line plotted, in part B, they're asking us to compare the fractions using greater than, less than, or equal symbols on our lines. So sure, let's go ahead and do that. 7/12. Is it less than, greater than, or equal to half? Well, remember we just did I just gave you an example of the cookie. We know the cookie is half. I'm sorry, we know that half of the cookie is 6/12. But 7/12 is more. It's more than a half of the cookie, right? So 7/12 is what? It's more than half, right? And we can see that here on the number line, right? 7/12 is more than half. It's closer to the 1. Agree or disagree? And remember, we also said that here for this one, to compare these two, 7/12 compared to 5/6. Remember, when I started, I said that 5/6 is close to 6/6, which is 1, right? 1 whole. So we know that it's closer to the 1 than the 7/12, right? So we could say here that 5/6 is closer to 7/12. Agree or disagree? Go ahead and try to do B on your own. Let's see. Let's move on to number 3. Let's do some of our number 3 some of our parts of number 3 together. Number 3 says, compare the fractions given below, writing greater than or less than on the number lines. It says, give a brief explanation for each answer, referring to the benchmarks 0, half, and 1. Okay, let's go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and do the first few together, okay? Well, let's see. Looks like A says 1/2, and it's comparing it to, what is it comparing to? It's comparing it to 3/4. Well, let's think about it. 3/4 and 1/2. Well, if you have a cookie and you eat half of it, and you have another cookie and you have 4ths and you eat 3/4 of it, what do we think, boys and girls? Which one is more? Yeah, you're right. 3/4 is more than half. And also, you can say that 3/4 is also closer to 1, right? Because it's almost 4/4, but not quite. So you can use whatever explanation you think is best. So for here, I could say, for my explanation, because they're asking us to write just a brief explanation why we for our answer. So I can say 3/4 is greater than half. Agree or disagree? Let's go ahead and do B together. Okay, so we're comparing 1/2 to 7/8. Well, Ms. Martinez, I see that 7/8 is almost 8/8. And I know that 8/8 is 1. Agree or disagree? So we can say that 7/8 is greater than 1/2 because it's closer to 1. So we could write here 7/8 is closer to 1. Remember our number line, right? If I go back and I show you our number line, remember it's closer to 1 and half is in the middle, so 7/8 is closer to the 1 whole. Okay? Let's go ahead and do C. Should we do C together? Well, it says 2/3 compare to 2/5. Well, I know that 2/3 is greater than half, right? And 2/5 is probably what? Less or more than a half? Think about it. I'm going to go ahead and say that 2/3 is bigger than 2/5. And my explanation can say 2/3 is greater than half. And 2/5 is less than half. Agree or disagree? Go ahead and do the rest on your own. I'm sure, I know, that everyone will do a wonderful job. See you soon, Room 13.